From the moment I could understand words, my family made one thing crystal clear. I didn't belong. It wasn't just the manipulation, the lies, or the blatant favoritism. It was the way my father looked at me like I was an inconvenience. The way my sister Ophelia would smile every time she got away with something that cost me everything. The way my mother, Serafina, tried to protect me but never quite enough to make a difference. Then, one day, it all shattered. Ophelia framed me, and my father didn't hesitate. He threw me out like I was garbage. As I walked away with nothing but my dignity, she laughed, her voice dripping venom. Good luck, loser. No home, no safety net, no family. But they didn't know what was coming. In just a few days, everything would change, because karma never forgets. Chapter 2. Return to Meadowbrook Lane. The house looked just as I remembered. 2 stories. Painted a soft, forgettable blue, pristine white shutters, and a manicured lawn that practically screamed stability. From the outside, it could have been a painting of the perfect family home. But I knew better. Gripping the handle of my suitcase a little too tightly, I stepped out of the car. Years of memories settled onto my shoulders like bricks as I approached the porch. I had told myself this would be different, that I had grown past the fear that crawled up my spine whenever I came here. I lied. Inside, the scent of lavender and polished wood wrapped around me like a ghost. Familiar, suffocating. Serafina turned from the stove, her face lighting up when she saw me. Cassia, sweetheart, you're here. Her hug was warm, the only comfort I'd ever known in this house. Then came her voice, light, amused, and fake as ever. Well, well, look who decided to grace us with her presence. Ophelia was, perched on the armrest like royalty, her perfect hair cascading over her shoulder, the picture of effortless charm. Still dressing like a corporate drone, I see, she said, eyeing my blazer. I ignored her. Where's Dad? His voice answered from the study before she could. Cassia. Magnus Calloway, tall, chiseled, cold. He stepped out, barely looking at me. Sit. We need to talk. I obeyed. Years of conditioning made it automatic. Ophelia followed, settling in across from me with a satisfied little smirk. Cassia broke my laptop, she said sweetly. I blinked. What? My MacBook, the one Dad just got me. I found it cracked this morning. I didn't touch your laptop. She was in my room last night, she said with a pout. Maybe she knocked it over. Magnus didn't hesitate. Is that true? No, I said firmly. I wasn't anywhere near her room. Serafina stepped in. Magnus, you can't just assume. I'm not assuming, he snapped. She won't take responsibility. That ends now. Then the blow. No more access to family accounts. You're on your own. I stared at him, shocked. You can't be serious. Ophelia smirked. Oh, he's very serious. I didn't argue. What was the point? I stood, walked out to the backyard, and let the cold air chill the fire inside me. My phone buzzed. A call from my boss. Dread settled in my stomach as I answered. Cassia, he said. The email with the quarterly, reports never went out. You were up for a promotion. This doesn't look good. I sent it. Last night. No, you didn't. I stopped, realization slicing through me. Ophelia. I had asked her to forward it while I was on a call. She'd smiled and said she would. Now this, Chapter 3. The Crumbling Mask. That night, I hosted a small gathering for my colleagues, an informal event, a chance to show I was leadership material. Magnus used it to humiliate me. She's always been a little scatterbrained, he said, swirling his whiskey. Bright, sure, Ophelia added, laughing, but not quite as sharp as she thinks. I sat in silence, throat tight, rage simmering. Later, alone in my room, the truth sank in. No matter how much I achieved, they would never see me. The next morning, I got the voicemail. We're going with someone else for the promotion. All my work, gone. Because of one email. Because of her. Chapter 4. The Final Straw. I stormed into the kitchen. Ophelia was sipping coffee like nothing happened. You knew, I said, voice low and trembling. She blinked. Knew what? That email. You didn't send it. She tapped her mug. Oh, that. Oops. I stared. That mistake cost me my promotion. Cassia, stop blaming others for your failures. It's pathetic. Before I could respond, Magnus entered. What's going on? Cassia's throwing a tantrum again, she said, sugar-sweet. She admitted it, I shouted. She did it on purpose. Cassia, he said calmly, maybe you're not as capable as you think. And then the final blow, Ophelia. Got a brand new designer bag that afternoon. Just a little reward, he said. I couldn't breathe. You don't see it, do you? I said. She gets rewarded for existing. I get punished for trying. You wouldn't understand, he said. Ophelia actually works hard. I almost laughed. That night, he accused me of scratching his car. Ophelia blamed me again. He believed her. Again. You're paying for the repairs, he said. That was it. I packed my things. Serafina came to my door. Cassia, I'm trying, but your father, he won't listen. I know, I said. That's why I'm leaving. She didn't stop me. But I didn't leave. Chapter 5. Collapse. I woke to shouting. Magnus's voice, thunderous and violent. A storm was coming, and this time I wasn't the target. Not directly, but this time I wasn't going to stand. Buy and take it. Because karma doesn't forget, and neither do I. I swung my legs over the bed the moment I heard it, Magnus's voice echoing through the house, sharp and angry. I hurried to the doorway and rushed to the top of the stairs. There they were. Magnus stood in the middle of the living room, his face red with rage, fists clenched at his sides. His jaw was so tight I thought he might crack a tooth. Serafina stood a few feet away, worry etched deep into her features. And behind him, with arms crossed and a strange blend of concern and satisfaction on her face, stood Ophelia. She stole it, Magnus's voice thundered through the house. My watch, my Rolex is gone. My stomach dropped. I didn't need to hear the rest. I already knew where this was going. I told you, Ophelia said, her voice calm and calculated. She reached out, touching Magnus's arm like she was soothing him. I saw Cassia near your office last night. I didn't think much of it at the time, but now she let the implication hang in the air like poison. Magnus turned on me, his fury finding a new target. You? His voice cracked like a whip. You think I'd steal from you? I asked, my voice steady, though my hands had begun to tremble. Don't play innocent, he snapped. That watch was in my office yesterday. This morning it's gone. And now Ophelia tells me you were lurking around? Lurking? Are you serious? I laughed bitterly. Ophelia gave me a small, pitiful shrug. I didn't want to believe it either, Cassia, but it just makes sense, doesn't it? Magnus took a step toward me. Tell me where it is. I don't have it. My voice rose, my breath coming faster. I never touched your damn watch, Dad. This is just another one of Ophelia's games, and you're falling for it. Like always. Serafina stepped in, placing a hand on Magnus's arm. Magnus, please, let's not do this. He shook her off. No more excuses, he growled. I've let this go on long enough. He pointed a shaking finger at me. You've been nothing but a problem since the day you were born. I've given you everything, and this is how you repay me? By stealing from me? His words hit harder than any slap. I didn't steal anything, I whispered. The fight was draining out of me, but it didn't matter. It never did. Magnus's lips curled into a sneer. I've had enough of you. Before I could react, he grabbed my arm, hard, His grip was bruising, and for the first time in my life, I saw it in his eyes. Not frustration, not disappointment, hatred. "You're done here," he said, voice low and final. Ophelia stood just behind him, smiling slightly. She had won, and she knew it. I yanked my arm free. "You're making a mistake." "No," Magnus snapped. "The mistake was keeping you in this house for so long." He stormed toward the front door and threw it open with such force it slammed against the wall. "Get out!" Serafina gasped. "Magnus, no!" "I said, get out!" The silence that followed was suffocating. I turned to Serafina, hoping, praying she'd say something. Fight for me. But she didn't. She just stood there, pale and silent, eyes full of an apology she'd never say out loud. Slowly, I turned to Ophelia. She met my gaze, her lips curling into a smug smile. "Good luck, loser," she mouthed. I felt numb. I wanted to scream, cry, fight. Instead, I walked to the door. I didn't pack a bag. I didn't take anything. But my phone, my wallet, and the clothes on my back. And I didn't look back. Serafina didn't flinch. "I'm leaving you," she said. I held my breath. 3750. I waited for the explosion. It came like a storm, sudden, violent. Magnus's face turned red, his fists clenched at his sides. "You think you can just throw me away like garbage?" he growled. Serafina met his fury with quiet defiance. "This isn't up for debate." I had never seen her like this. Not once. Magnus stepped forward, tense, and before I even realized what I was doing, I moved between them. He looked at me, something dangerous in his eyes. "You think you're strong enough to take me on, Cassia?" His voice was low, menacing, but he wasn't really looking at me. He was looking through me, at her, and still, she didn't waver. "You'll regret this," he muttered, voice laced with quiet rage. His eyes flicked between the two of us as if committing the moment to memory. Then he turned sharply and stormed up the stairs. The echo of his footsteps rang through the house. Ophelia stood in the hallway, eyes wide, calculating. The war had begun. We didn't know it yet, not fully, but Magnus wasn't going to leave quietly. The living room air was thick with tension. He returned not long after, pacing like a caged animal, jaw clenched so tight I thought his teeth might snap. His hands trembled, not with fear, with fury. Serafina stood firm, arms crossed, calm. Too calm. She faced the brewing storm like stone. "You don't get to do this," Magnus snarled. "I already did," she replied. The words hit him, like a slap. I saw it. The disbelief. The hitch in his breath. He was losing control, and he knew it. I had watched my mother shrink for years, bending, yielding, making herself smaller to keep the peace. But tonight, she wasn't afraid, and he didn't know what to do with that. Ophelia burst into the room, heels striking the hardwood like gunshots. Her eyes darted between them, panic, tightening her voice. "Mom, you can't do this," she hissed. Then she turned to Magnus, voice rising. "Dad, do something!" For the first time in my life, he said nothing. Ophelia's face twisted. She turned on me, venom in her gaze. "This is your fault," she snapped. "You poisoned her against us." I didn't respond, because I saw it. The mask was slipping. Ophelia wasn't just angry, she was terrified. She wasn't fighting for Magnus. She was fighting for her safety net. If he fell, so did she. And that scared her more than anything. Magnus slammed his fist into the table. The whole room jumped. "I built this house!" he roared. "I paid for everything. You think you can erase me?" His voice shook the walls. But Serafina didn't move. He stepped closer. I could see it now. Something dark in his eyes. She saw it too. She took one step back, voice steady, Touch me and I'll have you arrested." The words cut through him like glass. Magnus froze, his chest heaved, his fingers twitched. The power he had clung to for years, gone. "You'll regret this," he spat, eyes wild. Then he turned to Ophelia. "Come on, we're leaving." She paled, looked between them, hesitated. And for the first time, doubt flickered in her eyes. She didn't move. Magnus scoffed, grabbed his coat, and walked out, alone. The door slammed behind him, and silence pressed down on the house like fog. I knew one thing. He'd be back. And when he returned, it wouldn't be to talk. The next morning was too quiet. No boots in the hallway, no shouting from the kitchen. Magnus was gone. But instead of relief, I felt a strange unease. So did Serafina. She moved around the house with purpose that was too precise, too practiced. She wasn't ready to say it, but I knew this wasn't over. That afternoon, the first blow came, a knock at the door, deliberate, cold. Serafina stiffened. I stood, a chill spreading through my gut. She answered. A man in a suit handed her an envelope. "You've been served?" Back in the kitchen, she opened the envelope with steady hands. "He's contesting the divorce," she said. "He wants the house." My stomach dropped. "He's trying to ruin you." She nodded, calm. "Then we fight." That night, another knock. Softer. Hesitant. It was Ophelia. She stood in my doorway, arms crossed. "You have to talk to Mom," she said. "I talk to Mom every day." "This isn't about that." She hesitated. "Dad's going to destroy us." I folded my arms. "Since when do you care?" "This isn't about me." But I saw it, the flicker of fear behind the facade. "Yes, it is," I said. "You're scared of losing everything." She flinched. "You really thought he'd protect you?" "You don't understand, Cassia." "Then explain." She opened her mouth, said nothing, turned and walked away. The cracks in her world were showing. The phone rang an hour later. Serafina answered. "Hello, Magnus." I sat nearby, pulse rising. "You think you can win this?" His voice rasped through the speaker. "This isn't about winning," she said. "It's about freedom." A cruel laugh. "You'll never be free of me." She didn't answer, just hung up. The silence after was louder than any scream. "What do we do now?" I asked. She didn't hesitate. "We prepare." The next morning, the doorbell rang again. Another envelope. "You've been served." This time, everything. The house, the assets, control. "He's claiming I owe him everything," Serafina said, voice quiet. "He's lying." I know. But her hands trembled. Ophelia stormed in not long after. "You have to stop this. He's going to ruin us. He's doing this, not me. This affects all of us. It always has. If he takes the house." "He won't." "But what if maybe we just talk to him?" I laughed, bitter. "Since when has talking to him ever worked?" Ophelia's glare faltered. She was finally realizing she bet on the wrong side. 2 days later, the courtroom. Magnus entered like a conqueror, suit sharp, expression colder than steel. His lawyer went first. "My client provided financially. He deserves the house, the assets." Lies. Serafina's lawyer stood calm. "Mrs. Calloway was the sole provider. His claims are unfounded." And for the first time, Magnus's mask cracked. The hearing was short, the beginning of a war. As we left, he leaned in close to Mom. "You think you've won?" he hissed. "This is only the beginning." She didn't flinch, just walked on. But I turned, met his eyes, and I saw it. Beneath the rage, beneath the show, fear. He was afraid, and that made him more dangerous than ever. It started small, lights flickering, a momentary outage. "The wiring," Mom murmured, but I wasn't so sure. Then the bank called. I watched her face stiffen as she listened. "What do you mean the account was frozen?" Here's how a slightly revised version of the opening might look to set the tone and pace more effectively. Original. Her voice was calm, but I could hear the undercurrent of unease. Rewritten. Her voice was calm, but beneath it, unease simmered. The conversation ended quickly, and when she turned to me, her expression was unreadable. "Someone tried to freeze my accounts," she said. "The bank flagged it as fraud. I didn't need to ask who." Then the car appeared, a dark sedan, parked across the street. Not every night, but often enough to notice. Enough to send a chill down my spine. Key revision goals: clarity and pacing. Break up long paragraphs for better. Flow and reader breathability. Remove some repetition and passive language. Use more descriptive verbs to enhance urgency and emotion. Dialogue. Clean and condensed speech for realism and emotional punch. Use it to develop character tension more sharply. Character focus. Bring more internal reflection into play, especially with Cassia, to deepen the emotional stakes. Ending and thematic punch. Maintain the beautiful final message, but consider tightening the final few lines for impact. Example of condensed middle section, intensified scene. Original. "You really thought a piece of paper could stop me," he said, taking a slow step forward. Rewritten. "You thought a piece of paper would stop me?" he sneered, stepping forward. I didn't move. "You lost us the day you chose yourself over your family." His eyes darkened, and then he lunged. What's working beautifully? The emotional arc is strong and believable. The tone is consistent, tense, reflective, and ultimately empowering. The characters are fully developed, with Ophelia especially showing a complex evolution.